So the Houston Rockets got a huge win against the Chicago Bulls tonight, 133 to 118. Now, there's going to be a lot of questions here. First and foremost, I think the team played well, but the real question here and for the season as a whole, I think, is KPJ and Jalen Green going to work in the backcourt? So that's going to be the focus of the video, talking about why they could work, why they couldn't, some things that could happen in the future, some other external factors like a James Harden coming to Houston, homecoming, which I will talk about briefly, but stuff like that essentially. So today we're going to talk about if KPJ and Jalen Green can work out in the backcourt and what it's going to be looking like for them in the future overall. So what's up? My name's JDC. If you like what you see, drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel, I'd appreciate it. And let's just get into the video. So I'll go over their stats pretty briefly from the game today. KPJ, 36 points, 9 assists, 7 rebounds, 14 of 22 from the field, 6 of 12 from the 3. Jalen Green, 24 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists with 1 steal on 9 of 15 from the field and 6 of 10 from 3. So KPJ, I'll go into him first and foremost. I mean, this was probably, if not his best game this season alone. And he's having a pretty okay season. I mean, I think definitely above average, 18.7 points per game, around 5 rebounds, and around 6 assists over the season. He's shooting the ball around 42% from the field and 32% from 3, which isn't all that efficient. Obviously, last season, I mean, he was like one of the best catch-and-shoot three-point shooters. I think he shot the 3 around like a 38%, 37% around the three-point line. So, yeah, he shot around 38% from the 3 last season. So, KPJ, definitely an inconsistent player. Probably one of our more inconsistent players alongside Jalen Green, ironically. So, both these guys, they're going to be guys taking shots, going to be handling the ball majority of the game. Someone that's going to be, directing the offense. And, with KPJ, he's playing a new position. I mean, I think every Rockets fan knows that he's playing a new position, but he's more utilized or better utilized at the shooting guard or the small forward. I mean, he's a guy that can run off ball, someone that can spot up, and, with having abilities like playmaking that came alongside playing the point guard position last season and this season, he can definitely give a team a lot of versatility on offense. So in terms of defense, he definitely has gone better from his last previous seasons, and as an on-ball defender, he's definitely one of our better ones. But regardless, he's like a pretty mid/above average defender overall. So now talking about Jalen Green, we'll look at him overall in the season. 21 points per game, 4 rebounds, and 3.6 assists. So in his sophomore year, Jalen Green, he's absolutely going off, and he's probably having one of the best sophomore years we've seen from the 2021 draft class. Looking at guys like Mobley, he's been pretty subpar. I want to say even Scotty Barnes, he's been pretty on and off. Cade's out for the season, so we can't really talk about him. Franz Wagner is really the only guy that can compete with Jalen Green, but I think Green, in terms of scoring, he's been probably the best guy in that draft class so far. So Jalen Green, he's a great on-ball defender. He's definitely an improved on-ball defender this year. Someone that can run the pick and roll nicely compared to last season where he didn't really have that playmaking ability last season with Şengün. And this season, the pick and roll with Şengün has definitely been the bread and butter of the offense whenever KPJ isn't handling the ball majority of the time. So Jalen Green and the Şengün connection and the pick and roll is definitely something great to see, especially because Jalen Green, it just shows that he's becoming more of a playmaker, and definitely he is improving his playmaking ability overall. So in terms of the fit between these two guys, I mean, obviously, like, the fit is nice because KPJ, he's a guy that can space the floor, someone that can drive into the cup when you want him to, and someone that can get some pretty high assists in some games. This game, he had 9 assists, which is pretty great. So on games such as this, he's going to look pretty great alongside Jalen Green, but on some nights when he isn't the most effective or the most efficient, I mean, it's not going to work out too well because with Jalen Green, I mean, he's a guy that can score and get you a bucket, but some instances this season have shown me that Green can't be totally consistent overall as the #1 guy on the team. So it comes into question if Green can be the guy that can score for us on, the team and moving forward in the future, but I think he could. We definitely could see something change in the future. Victor Wembanyama, Scoot Henderson, those two guys can come into Houston. This draft class, this 2023 draft class, Ben Thompson's another guy that can come here. Anthony Black, Brandon Miller, these type of guys, but another guy in James Harden, who I just made a video on, if you guys want to check that out, he could be a guy that can come into the offseason and completely change everything I mean, he slots right into the 1, KPJ into the 3, or even off the bench as a 6-man type of guy. And I think that could definitely be pretty interesting with James Harden on the roster. You know, defensively, the backcourt would be a lot worse because, you know, Harden's not really that great of a defender, and Jalen Green, although he is a pretty okay defender, I mean, he's still one of the, you know, not one of the best defenders in the league. So, yeah, the fit between KPJ and Jalen Green, I definitely like it. The thing is, I need KPJ to develop more into a playmaker to really, you know, be sold on the idea of KPJ at the point guard. And I need to be sold that Jalen Green can at least try to get his own bucket or be consistent at getting his own bucket in consecutive games. So you guys can let me know what you guys think about this duo right here in Jalen Green and KPJ. Do you guys think they have the potential to become one of the best duos in the league? In terms of offensive ability, I mean, they definitely have a lot of potential, both of these guys being able to score pretty high numbers. We just have to see with the efficiency. I mean, with Jalen Green, I mean, the efficiency is definitely on and off. He's shooting around 41% from the field and 31% from 3, so pretty low shooting splits from Green overall, but I know he can definitely get it up in the second half of the season, depending on what happens. So you guys can let me know what you guys think about this duo. The fit, obviously, going to be pretty weird if James Harden comes here, but we'll see what happens. There's a lot of external factors that can come into this, but I want this duo to thrive because KPJ, I mean, he said, obviously, in an interview that this franchise saved his life, and Jalen Green, I mean, being the cornerstone of the franchise and just being, you know, pretty great with the community overall. I just want to build around them. I mean, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But, you know, with KPJ and Jalen Green, you know, both the guys just fit with what we're doing right now. And we're not in any rush to contend. We definitely aren't. I mean, next season, we don't have our pick and would be more likely to contend. But regardless, we still have a lot of young talent. Jabari Smith, Şengün, we have those type of guys on the roster that need some development. So we'll see what happens. So that's a video, and I'm out. Peace.